Hey FP students, my name is Taylor and I get the privilege of serving on our FP students team at the Pellissippi campus. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the New Testament. Now you might be wondering, what makes the New Testament new? Is there an Old Testament? What's the difference? The Bible is broken up into two major parts, the New and the Old. To put it really simply, the Old Testament was written before Jesus' life and the New Testament was written after. The New Testament records the life of Jesus and his earliest followers, and it talks about his teachings and his miracles and what he did during his time on earth. Now, there are different types of writing in the New Testament. The first four books of the New Testament are called the Gospels. These are the ones you may have already heard of. They're Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. These are four different books written by four different people, all giving four different perspectives of Jesus' life. These are people that walked with him every day, people that saw his teachings, heard his teachings, saw his miracles while he was here on earth. The New Testament Gospels provide an account of his life, not only to show us how he lived his life on earth, but how we should live our life today. The second type of writing that I want to talk about today is a historical narrative called the Book of Acts. Now, Acts is actually a continuation of one of the Gospels called Luke. This part 2 gives a little bit more insight into what happened after Jesus died. So it talks about the continuation of what Jesus did in the church by means of the Holy Spirit. So after Jesus died and was resurrected, the Holy Spirit continued to do the work of Jesus through the church. Not the church like the building that you go to on the weekend, but the church as in the body of believers who follow Jesus. Another type of writing that I want to talk about are the letters. These are sometimes also called the epistles. These were written by different people to different people, sometimes to individuals, sometimes to a group of people. And the reason that these were written were usually to address a specific issue or situation that the author wanted to talk to this group of people about. Now, the reason they did it through a letter was because they couldn't always necessarily get face-to-face to have this conversation. You know, they didn't have text messages and emails and cars back then, so they had to write letters and address the issues that they want to talk about through writing. So now you know what the New Testament is, but you still might be wondering, why do we have it? Why does it even matter how it's different from the Old Testament? See, the New Testament is meant to not only show us the life of Jesus, but how we are supposed to worship God now. Though the Old Testament points us to Jesus and the Old Testament lays the foundation for the New Testament, it no longer serves as a mean of justification, which means that now in the New Testament, we can see how we're supposed to live our daily life and worship Jesus. As I've been reading through the New Testament myself this year, God has shown me so much about how to love other people. And he's done this through the life of Jesus and the scriptures about how Jesus spent his time with other people, how he spoke to people, how he treated people, and in general, how he loved people. I want to love people like Jesus, so what better place to look than the life of Jesus himself, how he interacted with people. The New Testament provides such a good basis of how we should live our life every day. So it's my prayer that as you work through the New Testament this year, as you read through the New Testament, that God will reveal some stuff to you through the life of Jesus that will radically change the course of your faith.